time of year again, the time of candy, spooky props, and amazing Halloween countdown.
So the gaming family wanted to chip in and present to you our top 15 undead characters in video games. Now here are the rules. The character has to have died or at the very least lost consciousness in their body.
We're going to be looking at ghosts, zombies, vampires, skeletons, and many more supernatural wonders.
So with that said,
get ready for the countdown. 5, my computer ready.
Now, if you've played Dark Souls, you know that basically every NPC is an undead. You'd also know of a man who praises the sun, a man who wishes to be so grossly incandescent, a man who is the most helpful NPC in the game. This man is known as Solaire. Praise the sun!
Praise the sun! Praise the sun!
Now, let me explain why Solaire is glorious, besides the massive amounts of sun praising he and the entire Dark Souls fanbase does. In Dark Souls, there are these things called phantoms. They can either invade you and fuck your shit up, or you can summon them to help you with the game. Solaire just happens to be one of the phantoms that you can summon, and dear Lord Hideyoshi is he helpful. Solaire appears in 4 fights, 5 if you save him from the demon ruins, and he completely tanks basically everything. Well, except for the gaping dragon, but nobody likes that boss. Along with his helpfulness, he's also the fan favorite NPC, mostly due to his quotes.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Solaire's quotes also began the game's most used quote. Say it with me, friends. Praise the sun!
Praise the sun!
Praise the sun!
praise the sun!
All in all, Solaire is quotable, helpful, and all around the best NPC in Dark Souls, and one of the best undead of all time.
You really don't expect this series like Pac-Man to have a good undead character, would you? Sure, you have the ghosts, but they aren't special at all. They just float around doing, I don't know, whatever ghosts do. And then there's Spooky. Spooky is a ghost, the color ghost who's trying to resurrect to destroy Pac-World and Pac-Man, and when he is resurrected, he engages in combat with Pac-Man and lifts the arena in the air. Spooky may not have any personality, but his battle is fantastic and makes up for it. Spooky will fly around the arena, launching projectiles and that are meteors, I guess, at you, and he will spawn countless enemies. The only way to attack him is to, well, go up and hit him. Pretty hard, yeah. As you go along, Spooky's attack will get harder and harder to dodge. Once you defeat him, you are so satisfied. Spooky also has a great battle theme to go along with the battle. All in all, Spooky's lack of personality brings him down a lot.
LB log, day 4. Subspace sucks. Seriously, all I've done is sleep, imagine a segment, and get annoyed by a British guy who drinks too much coffee. Ugh. At least I've learned I can change my appearance at will. Hooray. May as well imagine a segment to keep myself entertained. Cervantes de Leon. Since his inaugural appearance in Soul Edge, he has been a force to be reckoned with. Cervantes' father was a Spanish privateer who was killed by an English warship. From that point on, Cervantes turned his back on Spain and became only concerned with himself and gaining power. After fighting the cursed blade Soul Edge, he was possessed by the blade. At the end of Soul Edge, he was killed by Taki and Siegfried. However, at the beginning of Soul Calibur, Cervantes was resurrected unintentionally by our main man, Nightmare. Since then, Cervantes has been searching for Soul Edge, building an army of the undead along the way. As you may have guessed from that brief summary of his history, Cervantes is not the nicest guy. He's a ruthless megalomaniac who cares for no one. Don't believe me? He devoured the soul of his own daughter. Don't hate Cervantes yet? Well, here's the thing about Cervantes. He is the cheapest mother trucker I have ever faced in a fighting game. Seriously, his mastery of the two-sword fighting style can get you into an unbreakable combo. Not to mention, he has some of the highest stamina of any character. And if that wasn't enough, thanks to one of his swords also functioning as a pistol, he's one of the only characters in the series with a projectile attack. So, if I hate Cervantes so much, why is he on this list at all? Because he's freaking awesome! Seriously, have you not heard everything I've said about him? He wields dual swords, one of which also functions as a gun. He's an undead pirate who could probably murder a dozen-man army single-handedly and without a second thought. He can devour souls. If you know how to use him, it can be really satisfying to dominate with him. And you know what? While complex villains are nice, sometimes it's just as well to have a good old malevolent bastard. Sucks no one will ever see it. Sucks even harder I'll never get out of here. I'm just gonna lie on that floor for all of eternity. I've been missing for 4 days. How has no one come looking for me? Unless the person who did this to me moved my body. I have to get out of here. Wait a second. This is my mind. I changed my appearance. I can get out of here. I just need to think. Think of waking up. Come on. Come on. Great. Now where the hell am I? Wait. Is that you, cameraman David? Not yours. You asked for it.
You know, if you tried this a couple days ago, it might have had a point.
What the hell are you talking about?
You know, I just need you here a couple more seconds. And oh, it's wakey time.
I'm back! Woo! And somehow my appearance is the same as what I changed it to in Subspace. I don't get how that works, but okay. That nightmare is over. Hi!
Cinco Kou Basara. Before the epitome of awesomeness we know as Masamune became the poster character, there was Oda Nobunaga, a man whose ruthlessness earned him the nickname the Demon King. However, just when he seemed to be in his prime, Nobunaga was killed in an act of treachery at Honnoji. Even though the series went on far past the betrayal in its third installment, not even death is enough to keep the Demon King down. Nobunaga's back from the dead, and not just as a zombie. He's living up to his nickname, the Demon King now, and his thirst for blood is as unquenchable as ever. Not only that, but he's also a secret playable character, at the cost of defeating the newly demonic warlord twice, which is a lot easier said than done. Nobunaga boasts some of the most powerful attacks and smartest AI, and even on easy mode, he's a force to be reckoned with. Not only this, but if you fail to do his stage, a nightmarish version of the Temple of Honnoji, fast enough, you are punished with having to fight Nobunaga again. up to 5 times, and the longer this goes on, the less you'll be prepared for his final form. But is it all worth it to be honored with the permission to play as the Demon King? As much as Jeff swears he is, Nobunaga is pretty much the definition of overpowered when it comes to a hack-and-slash game like Cinco Kou Basara. Nobunaga's weapons are a sword and a shotgun, allowing him to excel at both close and ranged combat, and his melee combos are borderline merciless. Combine that with Nobunaga's element being darkness, and that allows him to heal from attacking enemies. Seriously, this kind of raw power is matched only by Hisahide and Utage. Nobunaga's story is pretty straightforward, but not bland to the point of being repetitive. Essentially, you get to lay waste all Japan in one of 3 possible ways, including one where Nobunaga confronts Tenkai, the alter ego of the very man who killed and revived him, and evening the score between the two. In a series where we have people like Mitsunari and Masamune, Nobunaga's strength in combat is genuinely inhuman, definitely fitting for an undead warlord who's earned the title of Demon King.
As you probably know, the media nowadays is filled with a lot of topics. A common topic brought up in the media are the usage of an apocalyptic setting, usually being centered around zombies. Whether you love them or you hate them, you cannot deny that zombies have been popular for quite some time now, showing up in all sorts of books, TV shows, movies, and video games, and will probably stay that way for a very long time.
Now, if you've ever seen anything from zombie-related media, you know that zombies are brain-hungry, thoughtless monsters that can kill you easily if you're not careful. You would also know that stuff like this would spread and kill millions of people in the process, destroying people's lives and ruining the world. It may be a bit repetitive, but it gets the job done, and most of the time, it has some reassuring twist added to it. With this, we make it to The Infected from The Last of Us.
Now, if there was ever a type of unique twist on zombies, this is probably one of, if not the best twist to them. The infected outbreak started on September 27 of 2013, after Joel's birthday. This event causes the near extinction of mankind. As a result, a group known as the Fireflies formed together as a response to military oppression, and is trying to come up with a vaccine to stop the infection from growing on a human being, the very reason the game's plot takes place. As a girl known as Ellie is not infected by an infected bite, making it your job to help create a vaccine to save the rest of mankind from turning infected.
There are 4 stages in the infected cycle. First are the runners. These are the only versions of the infected that can actually see you. They are rather weak, but they are fast as hell, and usually are in groups or with more powerful versions of the infected, so watch out for them. Next are the stalkers. These are the rarer type of infected, that have the same amount of vision and speed as a runner, but are a bit harder to kill. The clickers are the most common type of the infected, and are hard as balls to kill. While they are relatively slow and have no vision, if they catch you, they will kill you in one hit, meaning you will have to be very stealthy around these things, especially when runners are around. And then there are the bloaters, the final stage of the infected, and the longest to develop, and the hardest to kill. Bloaters can shoot balls of spores at you, causing damage, and if you're grabbed by one, it's an instant death, so keep your distance. Now, all this is fine and dandy, but the best part about the infected is their impact on the rest of the world.
As we have already mentioned, the infected are the causes of the extinction of mankind in this game. Now, we haven't actually described how a person gets infected. Basically, a type of fungus gets into your system, and the infection will turn you into an infected in between a couple of hours and a day. In many areas of the game, spores are all over the place, which can turn you into an infected without something like a gas mask. And this fungus infected nearly 60% of the human population, ruining countless of people's lives and turning the world into living hell. And if you think about it, the same shit that happens in the game could also happen in real life. You see, the fungus in The Last of Us is actually based off a real-life fungus known as cordyceps, which will actually turn ordinary ants into mindless zombies. So think about it. What if the fungus grew larger and larger and soon infected us all? It would basically become a living nightmare, and all of it was caused by such a tiny fungus. Kind of an interesting and scary thing to think of.
So in conclusion, The Infected is one of the most creative twists we have seen in zombie-related media. They are dangerous, frightening, unnerving, emotionless, and just downright fucked up. And to think, we still have a couple more entries to go.
Ace Attorney is one of these franchises that seem like it's not based on magic and the supernatural, but it actually has a lot, and that is with the help of the spirit channelers. Because of these characters, we tend to have ghosts a la Undead Characters in the Phoenix Wright trilogy. And even though Dahlia Hawthorne is one awesome villain for the third game, I have to go with the obvious choice of Maya Fey. Maya Fey was the first daughter of Misty Fey, who was a former master of the Crane. But unlike her little sister, she dropped channeling and got to become a defense attorney, something that she succeeded, and actually became a critically acclaimed lawyer, taking on Mr. Edgeworth on her first trial. Well, it was his first trial as well, but he is Edgeworth. Oh, and he was mentored by Manfred von Karma. But he was mentored by Groosberg, who had under his command this guy. So no objection here. Now, Maya had mentored Phoenix Wright, and after the first trial, she was murdered by Red White. But there is where it gets interesting. Mia Fey lives on by using her sister's channeling powers, and you thought she would be kind of useless. But she sometimes solves cases with the information that she is giving. But where she truly shines is in Justice for All, in a case where without her assistance, poor old Maya Fey would have gotten an extra smile by this mental gem. But even though she is indeed very helpful, she's a loyalist to her family, even when they have helped in murder. But it shows that Mia Fey has trust in her loved ones, and doesn't resort to mindless violence.
So, Mia Fey is not the most intimidating looking undead character. That is a fact. And I think the next entry is actually more intimidating. Indeed, I actually think of that. Isn't that right, Nick? It is, isn't it? It is! It is indeed. It is. Now, take the next entry, if you could. Because, you know, I have to leave you pretty people, and... Take the next entry now!
And now, allow me to introduce the Master of Terror, the King of Nightmares, Jack Skellington!
Whoa, what's this? Jack Skellington? This high on this list? How can we make this countdown without Jack? We're talking about fucking Jack Skellington in here! The Pumpkin King, the icon of modern gothic culture! Let me tell ya, there's a very good reason why Jack is in this list. Point being, like I said before, he's a cultural icon. I guess I should stop yelling and talk about the damn character. Jack Skellington is a tall skeleton with black suit with white pinstripes, big bat-like bow tie, and very tiny feet.
It's like you're a Chinese empress!
But don't let his appearance fool you. He might be a skeleton with good fashion sense, but he's the scariest man of Halloween Town. The people of Halloween Town hail Jack as the Pumpkin King, and Jack is in charge of Halloween traditions every year. Hell, he might be even able to not just scare shit out of Chuck Norris, but also scare his beard off, without even trying. But as seen in the movie, he started to get tired of being best and felt so empty inside. Inside his bones, not guts, since he doesn't have any guts. This only proves that Jack Skellington is very deep character despite being born to scare people. Not to mention, he has one of the best singing voices in movie history. Gabby Elfman? Yes, please! And we all know the rest. He finds the gateway to Christmas Town and plans to take Santa Claus's place, blah blah blah. Now let's talk about his role in games. Capcom made 2 games based on the movie. Oogie's Revenge for the consoles, what takes place about a year after the events of the movie, and The Pumpkin King for the Game Boy Advance, what takes place before the events of the movie. from what I know that in Oogie's Revenge, Jack goes to find fresh ideas for next Halloween with Dr. Finkelstein's Soul Robber. But while he was gone, Oogie Boogie, the villain from the movie, was resurrected and Oogie took Halloween Town under his control. Next, let's talk about his role in Kingdom Hearts series, finally. His role is pretty much the same as in the movie, but that's just in Kingdom Hearts 2. In other Kingdom Hearts games, he's just trying to make fresh ideas for Halloween parties, and he even tried to use the Heartless in Scary Dance number in Kingdom Hearts 1. He also made appearance in Disney Universe as a costume and in Disney Infinity as a playable character. In conclusion, Jack Skellington is one of my favorite characters in fiction, and for a number of reasons. He's a deep character, he has good fashion sense, he's iconic, he's a good singer, he's dead! Well, the last one is meaningless reason. But remember this, when you least expect it, in Halloween night, he comes to scare you. He knows who you are, he knows where you live, he knows your social security number. He's ready to scare you out of your skin!
Hello, children. Welcome to my humble home. You may be wondering what sort of undead skeletal figure could top even Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, on our glorious list. Well, I'll give you some hints. His skull has a very odd shape, and only one eye. No! Not that ghastly abomination, please no!
Oh, now don't tell me you're afraid of old ghosts.
Even if I wanted to talk about you, you're not exactly an undead character. You're just an extraterrestrial with ghost-like abilities.
Oh, guess I better leave it then. See you later.
Okay, now gather around, children, to hear the tale of the brave undead knight and the hero of Garamir, Sir Daniel Fortescue. Sir Daniel was once a knight leading King Peregrine's army to battle against the evil sorcerer Lord Zarok and his army of demons and other undead creatures, until he took an arrow to his left eye and was the first soldier to die in battle. Ashamed of Sir Daniel's poor abilities as a warrior, King Peregrine claimed that Sir Daniel fought hundreds upon hundreds of demonic beasts and defeated Zarok in battle, just before he died from an arrow shot into his left eye during battle. 100 years have passed since Sir Daniel's ignoble death, and Zarok returns from exile and casts a spell to rob the living of their souls and resurrects the dead, forming another demonic army to do his bidding. However, he also unwittingly brought Sir Daniel back from the dead, giving him a second chance to live up to the legend of the hero of Garamir. Armed with a vast collection of weapons such as shields, swords, crossbow, hammers and axes, Sir Daniel faced hordes of monsters and ghoulish apparitions before facing Zarok in a final battle, eventually defeating him for good, which earns him a place among the other brave men and women in the Hall of Heroes, as he restored his honor and dignity. Thus ends the tale of Sir Daniel Fortescue. So, children, have you enjoyed the story?
That's it? Just slaying a bunch of monsters and an old wizard? The other guys on this list did things that were more impressive than what this cowardly vagabond has ever done. Cervantes forced his daughter Ivy to become a servant of Soul Edge, the infected who plagued the planet for 20 years, brutally murdering millions of people and turning them into one of their own. Mia Fey devoted an entire life to bring criminals to justice, even after she was murdered. Jack Skellington can easily make Chuck Norris soil his pants in fear. So how does this Wayman skills for a bag of bones stop all of these amazing characters?
Well, it is baffling how Sir Daniel got so much eye on this list, being an obscure character as most of the others down at the bottom of the list are very well loved and respected by everyone. There is a reason why he's very high on this list. You see, after Sir Daniel joined the Hall of Heroes, he was later warned that a great evil was upon us. Believing Zarok has returned, Sir Daniel goes out to find the source of this great evil, facing off against many great and powerful foes during his journey, such as 2 men with electrical abilities, a samurai in a mechanical suit, a thieving raccoon, a young man with darkness and light inhabiting in his body, and his pet mongoose, a furry feline and his miniature mechanical man, a master strategist who leads a massive army for world domination, and the god of war himself and his father, who happens to be the god of thunder. Not that, the other one. There it is. Do you really need any more reason as to why Sir Daniel is very high on this list? He's honorable, he's entertaining, he's noble, he's brave, although in a cowardice sort of way, and above all, he's a very respectable knight who would not rest while evil threatened our world. So now what do you have to say about Sir Daniel?
I don't care if he's slain 2 powerful gods, he still has no right to be high on this list than the other characters.
That's it! Ghost Freak!
You called.
Get rid of that rude, bratty child and send him to his deepest nightmares.
It will be my pleasure. Prepare to meet your worst fear.
Come on, kid! You've got to learn to loosen up. Laugh a little. It's what keeps me going.
Thanks, Ghost Freak.
No problem. Call me whenever you need to dispose of some inconveniences.
That was creepy. What? Are you expecting some sort of joke to end this story? Well, here it is. Enjoy it.
When it comes to the depiction of the undead, I really like ghosts above all else, even with the insane popularity of zombies in recent years. And as far as the depiction of ghosts go, I really like it when the creators of a ghost character make that character just unsettling and mysterious. That idea, in my opinion, has never been executed better than by the Sorrow from Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, the Sorrow isn't a monstrous beast that's out to chew your head off and mount your body on a wall or anything, but he plays a massive part in Snake Eater's emotional impact and symbolism. In life, he was a Russian soldier that participated in the Allied landing on Normandy in World War II. To make a very long story short, the boss gave birth to Ocelot on the battlefield, and 18 years later the two met up in Solaire near Yarsk, which ended in the boss shooting the Sorrow in the eye at his own command to ensure that Ocelot would not be taken by the philosophers. But none of this is why we remember the Sorrow. We remember him because of that boss fight. If I am ever to make a disturbing bosses countdown, you can expect the Sorrow to be on it because this fight is just creepy. Starting out the battle, the first thing you'll probably notice is that the Sorrow's health and stamina are both completely empty. In fact, some argue that this isn't a boss fight at all because you are unable to do any harm to him. The Sorrow leads you down a ghostly river, and along the way you encounter the ghosts of all the bosses and enemies you've killed up until that point in the game. The Sorrow has only one method of damaging you. He'll sometimes launch a weird, swirly, watery looking energy blast thing. If you get hit by that, well, let's hope you haven't drank anything in the past couple hours. But there's more to it than that. Your entire radio support team will panic and scream if you call them as if you died, and saving the game in this location will reveal its name as ? When you get to the end of the river though, touching the Sorrow will supposedly cause Snake to die, but you can bring yourself back to life using the revival pill that the boss shot into Snake's leg just a few moments prior. When that happens, Major Zero says that Snake was sitting at the bottom of the river, worried he had drowned. And if you think about that a bit, the fight with the Sorrow gets much creepier.
Here's something that might surprise some of you. The next undead character on this list is a character in the Mario series. Immediately you're all thinking that it's Mimi from Super Paper Mario, right? Well, no.
What you mean, no?
Hey, calm down, calm down. I'll explain why. The reason why Mimi is not on here is because, well, she doesn't really match the right description of an undead character. All she really is a girl with a serious anger issue that cracks her neck and transforms into a spider. Now, if this list were something like disturbing characters in video games or bone-chilling moments in video games, then Mimi would definitely be on here. But we're not talking about disturbing characters or bone-chilling moments. We're talking about undead characters here, damn it! Now, in order to find the next undead character on here and to know more about him, we have to go back into the older days of Mario. Back into the earlier days of the N64 and Super Nintendo days. That's where we find none other than the Boos. The Boos, those creepy little ghosts that haunted our memories for years to come back in the olden days. Okay, maybe they're not, you know, the scariest thing in the world or in the Mario series, but come on. When we were kids playing games like Super Mario World or Super Mario 64, our innocent little minds couldn't bear seeing these guys. We were just glad we got through the level and hopefully we didn't have to go back to that level ever again. And speaking of Boos, this brings us to the next undead character on this list. The King of the Boos himself, cleverly named King Boo. Surprised to see this guy this high on the list? Well, don't be, because there's a lot more that King Boo has to offer. King Boo is, well, the king of all the Boos. That, and he's the only Boo that looks completely different compared to the other Boos. Now, let's go into one game that made his debut in the Mario series, Luigi's Mansion. In Luigi's Mansion, Luigi apparently gets a mansion all to himself, so he decided to check the place out. But once he gets there, the place turns out to be more haunted than he already expected it to be. That's where he meets Professor Gatt, a scientist who is fascinated with capturing ghosts and doing research on them. The professor then tells Luigi that Mario was kidnapped in the mansion, so to help him out he gives him a Poltergeist 3000 to suck up all the ghosts and a Game Boy Horror. After he gets some practice at being a Ghostbuster, sorry couldn't resist, Luigi goes into the mansion, and while you play as him, Luigi's able to take down some ghosts and turn them into pictures. However, in one room, there lies a trap door, and when he opens it up, it reveals 50 Boos, as well as King Boo himself. Luigi returns to Egat's lab, and Egat tells him that the Boos were the ones who released the portrait ghosts. Egat then tells Luigi that he must capture all the Boos in order to weaken their power, so Luigi goes through many rooms sucking up as many Boos that he can. But then in Area 3, down in a well, we see King Boo in a live portrait of Mario. So in other words, King Boo was actually able to capture Mario, making him one of the only Mario characters to actually imprison and capture Mario. So after you captured all the portrait ghosts and Boos, you grab a key that leads you to the room where King Boo is keeping Mario prisoner. When you arrive, King Boo reveals to you that he was the one who told Luigi that he won the mansion and that he set the whole thing up for revenge because of the trouble that he and Mario caused over the years of fighting many Boos. He then sucks you up into the painting that he was keeping Mario in, and then you take part in an epic final boss battle. In this final boss, you're on the rooftop of the mansion and Bowser comes right the hell out of nowhere. The attacks that he has are breathing fire, throwing spikes, charging, and trying to suck you up. You have to wait until he starts throwing the spikes so you can use the Poltergeist to suck one of the spikes up. He'll then charge at you and try to suck you up. That's when you throw the spike and, oh no, Bowser's been decapitated. Oh no, wait, it's just King Boo. Did he get that Bowser suit from Mario Party or something? Once King Boo is out of the suit, you have to do what you do with the other Boos. Suck up all the HP until it hits 0. But trust me, it's a lot harder than it looks. Not only do you have to avoid Bowser at all costs, but when King Boo pops out, Bowser will then start to spit ice at you to try and stop you from sucking King Boo up. Not only that, he has a whopping 500 HP. So it'll take you a couple of times to try and bring his HP down to 0. Once you do reach his HP to 0, you get King Boo's crown, grab the portrait of Mario, turn King Boo and Bowser into a portrait, get Mario out of his portrait in a funny way, and all seems well. But it's not just Luigi's Mansion that King Boo appears in. He also appeared in many of the Mario spin-offs, including Mario Kart, Mario Baseball, and as a boss battle in Mario Party 9. A puzzle boss battle, if you will. Seems pretty puzzling, am I right? Yeah, that was pretty sufferable. Any way you look at it, King Boo is a great undead character. He was actually able to capture Mario himself, he's a great king to an already great species of ghost, and he is without a doubt a worthy challenge in the final boss of the first Luigi's Mansion. And to end this off, to anyone saying that King Boo is not a scary undead character, have you seen his design in Luigi's Mansion 2? Yeah, I thought so. And may you have nightmares for years to come. Ta-ta!
As surprised as you all will be, Cofagrigus is our #1 undead character in video games. As much as I know people will disagree with this, let's just talk about what puts him at #1. For one thing, Cofagrigus and its pre-evolution are basically the only undead Pokemon in the Pokemon universe as of Gen 5. Not only that, but the design of Cofagrigus is pretty sweet, being a living Egyptian coffin, which seems to be hinted at as them being dead Egyptians, even though it sounds as if anyone can just come back as the Yamask and evolve into Cofagrigus. The deck states that Cofagrigus turns grave robbers into mummies, hence its ability being Mummy, which basically means that the Pokemon that physically attacks you has lost their ability, making the Pokemon you battle with the ability that nullifies or increases your attacks nullify. So basically, it kinda helps. That and the fact that they do eat gold. Even though Cofagrigus doesn't have good speed or attack, it has great defense and special defense stats, basically making a tank on your team. But you can make it a force to be reckoned with. For example, one moveset that proves this is, and not counting TMs, Ominous Wind, Wonder Room, Hex, and Will-O-Wisp. Ominous Wind has a 10% chance of boosting your stats. Wonder Room makes the slowest Pokemon the fastest, Will-O-Wisp burns your opponent, and the damage that Hex deals increases if the opponent has been burned. So as you see, Cofagrigus and its pre-evolution are probably the best undead video game characters. We're the gaming family. If you run into Cofagrigus, you better have some gold to feed it, or you'll be the body in the coffin, like Iris and Axew.
Thank you for watching Top 11 Undead Characters in Gaming. I am Stalfos7910, the guy you all hate. I wasn't in this list because I wasn't, but I made the prologue, so you can thank me for that. You can also go watch my latest countdown on the bottom right corner, which is Top 100 Wii Games Part 4. Pokepost is in the top right corner. We have Top 20 Females in Gaming Part 1, our last countdown. Top left corner, we have Ethan, the Heartless Soldier LPs, Batman Arkham, my breath is dying, John's Killjoy list, bottom left. Thank you for watching, have a great day. I have been Stalfos7910, and Pokemon 210 Master is bribing me to credit him for making the transitions. But screw that shit. Happy Halloween, kids!
Meow!
Yeah.
Why?
Thank you.